and welcome to the ADHD Unfiltered podcast. We are co-hosts Cherry and Emma, and we share an unfiltered look into our lives with ADHD and how it impacts us and our guests.
We are both mums with raging ADHD who've created a podcast that is funny, relatable and safe, whilst also providing information that can hopefully help you to enjoy a better quality of life. Whether you're a parent or not, this podcast will have something for you.
We hope you stick around and enjoy the episode, and please also don't forget to give us a follow or subscribe, because it really helps us keep doing what we do.
Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Hello! And welcome
Hello,
to the ADHD Unfiltered podcast. Today is all going to be about Christmas and ADHD.
Ooh.
I don't know why I just sang that, but
I liked it.
Felt like...
It made me feel festive and fun.
Yeah. So just kind of like the opposite vibes of what we've been like having.
Of what we actually feel. Yeah.
Well, it's what I want to feel. I want to feel
Yes.
festive and fun. and I have that feeling for like little bits and periods of time. Like, for example, when I do like the Christmas tree and I don't get OCD or like decision paralysis about it.
Yeah. Oh God.
And I'm
yeah.
just like,
yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Or when I have got all the presents and I'm in the middle of wrapping and I have like a mulled wine or whatever.
Yes, cozy vibes.
Yes, cozy vibes.
Mhm.
And have like a what do they call like the cheesy Christmas movies? Hallmark?
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know.
Hallmark movies they call them as well, don't they? Is
Yeah,
it
they
like
do.
a specific,
Like
yeah.
really
Oh,
cheesy,
yes.
like The Holiday or whatever.
The Holiday is what I was just thinking. I just got so excited because that was what came into my head, and I'm like, I could watch that so bad, like right now. That would put me in the mood for Christmas.
Just thinking about it, that makes my that gives me
Same.
that gives me nice chilled vibes. But the problem is getting to that point.
Yeah. That's the problem. That is that's the main issue, because I think for me,
I want to be in that vibe the entire time.
Me too.
But I'm not.
I miss the magic of being a child at Christmas, because you've got nothing to worry about and it feels so magical. Whereas I think as an adult, you're almost trying to get that back and it's just not achievable. But I just feel like I'm so dissociated from how I feel because I'm so busy with being a mum and being someone that's chaotic anyway. I have these moments where I just feel like I just don't feel Christmassy at all. And I truly want to. And that really frustrates me. It really makes me feel sad because I am a Christmas girl. Like December is my month. It's my birthday in 2 days. I'm like Christmas, birthday, like December. It's always been, I'm going to be 32 yet though. I'm like, I don't feel like that. That's weird to me. But either way, it just feels like this month.
You look amazing. You're amazing. Just all around, inside out.
Stop.
Just have to be said, okay?
I'm gonna go and cry now. No, but it's. I just feel like I'm sure people can relate. I put a post on my Facebook asking how people felt about Christmas, and so many people were like, "I'm just overwhelmed. I'm just so overwhelmed." I'm like, "That's it. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I just feel frozen in. Have I got enough? Have I done enough? Do I need to change that? Do I need to do this? The tree's not looking that great," and putting so much pressure. And I'm just like, who gives a hoot what the tree looks like? It doesn't matter.
I don't, like, full disclosure here, I don't have any Christmas decoration up yet, and it gives me so much stress, and it upsets me so much because I'm like, I'm a mum and I want to create this like magical little Christmas fairy tale, but a little background of, you know, what has been happening or like why I wasn't here and why Emma was a bloody superstar and just did an entire fantastic episode by herself, is because we've been moving house. Don't ask me why in December. It was an impulsive decision. Sorry if you hear my cat scratching the carpet in the background.
She really wants to be involved in this episode.
Oh no, that was Rufus. That's the boy cat. He just wants to have a say as well. Anyway,
just like, I'm just here.
So yeah, basically it was quite an impulsive decision to move house because our landlord from our old property put up the rent by 40%. But hadn't done anything on the house, no renovations, no improvements, nothing. But there was loads to be done.
Much.
And we were constantly going back and forth and being like, it's not the worst. it sucks, but it's all right. But then my partner, he started to look into properties just for fun, and that's how it all started. Um,
Yeah. Well,
and
I remember you sending
he
me the picture not that long ago of the place going, I really love this place. And then you just went
yes,
boom and
correct.
you got it.
That's all. That's what we do. He went and looked on like Rightmove one day. He was like, "Hey, are you up for doing some viewings today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Yeah.
Saw one property. I was like, "No, this is not it." And then he found this other one, and he was like, should we just go and view it now?" And I was like, "Okay, yes, let's do it." And then we just on the same day we applied to move in,
Yeah. And here
and
you
that was it.
are.
And we only had to give a month's notice, so that's how we moved in December.
Not a stressful time to move at all.
At all, no. Not to
But you've
mention
done
we're
it.
now on the other side of the city, so we're also going to have to move nursery, which we obviously didn't account for.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, Cherry, yeah. Like that
But we found a
it
good one.
is
It's going to be okay. She's going to be
yeah.
able to start the new nursery in January. Up until then, we're just going to have hour-long commutes, which has
Well,
made me
yeah.
cry a few times, several times actually.
Oh
Not going to
no.
lie.
It's a lot. It's very overwhelming.
Sorry.
I feel like no, I don't apologize because that's what this is about. And I think, I think I have been thinking about you a lot and I've not wanted to bother you because I'm like, I know what I'm like when I've moved a lot and it sends me into overdrive. It makes me essentially I get close to meltdowns because it is a
Yeah.
really stressful thing.
Oh, I've had
And
several.
I'm not surprised. And I just think, yeah, well, you've done it now. You're in
Yeah,
before Christmas. You've still got time to put those decorations up. And
I
you know
know.
what? In a new home, how exciting is that? Like how
Yes.
exciting. Let's get excited, Cherry. I'm gonna put all my energy and be like, get excited, get your decorations up. And you get to do
Thank you.
that and christen your new home with Christmas joy
Yes. Yeah, we're
when
going to
you have the
host
energy.
Christmas this year as well. So no
Are
pressure.
you, Cherry? Are you literally like you're causing me stress thinking about? I feel
It's
like piling on, but you know what? Why not? You've got the home, you've got the space, and I'm assuming
uh,
that you like the family that you're hosting. Is it your partner's
yeah.
family? You get on.
Yeah.
It's all good then.
Yeah,
It's all good.
definitely. It's going to be fine.
It's gonna be okay.
Just holding back
Just
tears.
yeah. I feel like you know what? It's Christmas anyway is a it just is a stressful time when you become an adult. It's just there's so much to think about, and as a parent, the thing that gets me is have I bought enough? Have I bought too much? Have I bought things that are actually going to help his education? Is it all rubbish? And that pile on of I don't want him to be disappointed, but I also don't want him to expect too much and it be like, this big thing where it's just presents is what Christmas is about. And I find myself getting stuck between all of these different decisions and thought processes that mean that when it comes to Christmas Day, I'm just sat there, just totally not present in the moment at all. And I'm just worrying if this isn't okay or that's okay or if I've done enough or not enough. And I feel sad that that is the feeling that most mums have said that they feel when it comes to Christmas. And when you add ADHD onto that, yeah, it's there's so much. There's rejection sensitivity, uh, you know, executive dysfunction problems, the emotional regulation of trying to have a good day and not get too stressed. There's so many reasons why it can be a really, really stressful and not that joyful day for many people.
Yeah, absolutely. I find a lot of the times I get very overstimulated and
Hmm.
overwhelmed. Like I enjoy it right at the beginning. I'm like, oh, this is lovely, how
Yeah,
lush. And then exactly what you just said, all the like thoughts come in, but then I have the outside noise. I have like the demands on me. I
yeah,
have like, the social point of things everywhere and
yeah,
is and then being a mum on top and being like, exactly this. Like, is this magical enough? Is this like,
Yes.
am I doing enough to help if I'm not hosting? Or if I'm
Yeah.
hosting, then, um, or like, am I doing enough to play with my child? Is she like able to really enjoy her presents, or are they just going to be clutter again? Like, then there's
Yes.
the next
Yeah.
thing, like where to put everything. Like, is this just going to clutter the house further because I don't want to clutter more? And it's just yeah, but then the biggest feeling of all is, oh, I want to enjoy this. Like, I want to be
Yeah.
grateful for this, and I am, but I'm also overstimulated and overwhelmed and feel like
Yeah.
kind
Really,
of,
really just
yeah.
overloaded. That's it. I actually get well, this year for Christmas we're going to my parents and my brother and his two children and his wife as well.
Mhm.
And it's just going to be a very full house. And I am just already, I just know I get to this point where I just go into shutdown mode. And especially after a big dinner, I I get so tired that I'm yawning constantly. I feel like I'm being rude, but that's my body going into essentially shutdown of I have
Mhm.
nothing more to say. I'm all done of small talk.
Yeah.
There's lots of children running around making lots of noise. And I love my two sons and I love my two nephews, but my goodness, they can be very hyperactive together.
Mm.
And it gets to the point where, I mean, last year I remember I felt
Mm.
awful because it was the first Christmas of having two children. And
Mm.
it was really hard for me to divide the time between both of them and make sure that my eldest wasn't feeling left out and that he was excited and that he was getting played with. Like you said with
Mm.
Bella, you're trying to find these time to give to everyone for Christmas, as well as keeping yourself afloat and keeping sane. And it's a joyful time and it's got so many glimmers of magic, but you can't deny that it is a very overwhelming time. And just on top of that, you think about like the Christmas lights, the music in the background, the sound of cooking in the kitchen, all of it combined sends me really, really irritable. And I have to like
Mm.
have breaks because I
It
find
is,
myself getting so like, "Oh."
and it's, yeah, from a sensory point of view, it's just overstimulating by
Yeah,
itself. And if you think about it, really, Christmas itself, like, you basically Christmas is hitting all pain points for people with ADHD, because you've got to remember, like, even like the lead up to Christmas, you've got to
yeah,
remember to plan things.
yes,
You have to plan ahead. You have to get presents in time. You have to actually decide on presents.
yeah,
So a lot of the times I get I get decision paralysis on presents and what to get, and then I'm a perfectionist, and then I want to make presents myself, but I never do, or
yeah.
get started but then I don't finish them, and then I've got Christmas cards, like, even literally, I kid you not, whilst we're moving, I found Christmas cards from 2018 that I
Oh,
never sent.
wow.
And
Yeah.
like, I have the best intentions and I'll write them out, but I don't send them and I don't give them
No,
out, or I'll forget Christmas cards, full stop. And then I just feel
same.
like like, yeah. Um, don't want to swear,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
and yeah, and then on top of that is it's just, yeah, then you have to make sure you've got, obviously, the dinners planned and then go shopping in time. You
oh
also shouldn't
gosh, yeah,
probably impulsively spend too much money. There's the budget restrictions that you probably have. And I always, every single year, overspend.
same.
Um, yeah. And then a lot of the times I just do last minute things. Then there's the overstimulation point of view and all the meetups with family, friends, etc. If you have those, or with work, those work dues where you feel like you still
Yeah,
have to perform whilst being social, and kind of come across as polite at the same time. And I've
yeah,
noticed, actually, especially with like little group meetings or family meetings, etc., it's very easy, or I think I'm starting to understand why maybe some people might perceive what I'm doing as rude. And I don't mean it as being rude. It's more that, when everyone's getting up and starting to, like, for example, put the plates away, and wash up. If I'm in a conversation, I'm in a conversation. I don't even notice people getting up and putting
Mm-hmm.
everything away. I stay sat down and I chat. I can't do both things at the same time. I can't get up and put the food away, etc., whilst also chat. If I do that, I end up picking up the plate, walking into the kitchen, and then keeping the plate in my hand whilst I'm chatting,
Yeah.
or I put it somewhere completely random. People are
Yeah.
like, Cherry, what are you doing with that plate? Or
Yeah.
like it's just not working. And I feel people don't really get it, or like when it's like time to like serve dessert or whatever, like those like little unprompted things that are kind of just expected of you, or like when it comes to even just normally when I'm having guests in the house, I have to actively think, oh, make tea, offer tea,
Yeah. Oh gosh,
offer
same.
drinks,
Yeah.
because again, I can't do both things at the same time. Do you want me to be social? Do you want me to be helpful? I can be either,
One or the
but I
other.
can't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I want to
Yeah.
be helpful, and then a lot of the times, like I'll be prompted and be like, "Oh, Cherry's on holiday, is she?" Or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"Cherry's not doing anything," and I'm like, "Oh, sorry," and then I get it, and I get up, but then I already feel guilty and feel bad, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, I
Because
didn't
they
even
don't think
notice."
they don't see it as that's obviously our inattentiveness, because I'm exactly the same, and I will be sat at the table kind of, often I'm just enjoying my food, like
Mm.
I'm having seconds, like my granddad before he passed would every Christmas would give me, he'd offer me, be like, right, you won't eat all that, and if you do, I'll give you £5. Well, I would eat it all, because now he's made it a competition. So I'm like a foodie, and I will sit and like eat, and I'll be eating, then mum will be clearing away, and I'm like, but I'm still present at the table. And then I look like I'm being rude, but I'm like, but I'm comfortable and happy here. And my inattentiveness, my first thought isn't get up and do the washing up. That's not the way my brain
No.
works. So I can look quite rude as well. And I'm like, well, it's really difficult to balance that and kind of keep yourself okay and not
Mhm.
overstimulated without upsetting other people. And if you already have like turbulent family relationships, Christmas can also be really, really overwhelming for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have a good relationship now with my family compared to what it was, but there's obviously still
Mhm.
residual trauma there. And often, I mean, they have very different opinions to me in every respect. So like
Mhm.
politics, everything. Like they are the total opposite. So sitting around the table sometimes could be really, really triggering. And I often find myself sat at Christmas, thinking, I couldn't be further from these people if I
Mm.
tried. And it does sometimes remind me of how different I am to them. So it can also be emotionally quite testing if you don't have the best relationships with your
Yeah,
family, or if they are just, sometimes families can be difficult, even if you love them. They just
very
can
much.
test you really, really
Absolutely.
bad. You spoke about budgeting as well before, and I thought, before I forget, I'm going to just be totally honest. I've really overspent this month to the point where I've put myself back into, not debt, obviously, but just uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
I've spent so much that I've done really well for the last few months of not getting to that and being really, really careful with money. And I think it's really important to say, Christmas is not about getting into debt. And I spent so much that I got to the point where I was just like, wow, I can't even tell you where half of that money is gone. And I think
No.
it can be a really, really overwhelming month for anyone. But with ADHD, I don't know about you, but I think it can be a really hard time for people to stay like grounded and stay sensible with their
Yeah,
decisions.
absolutely. I mean, we've kind of touched upon it already a little bit, but I'm quite impulsive, really.
Mm,
If you think about the little things, I think when you think about impulsivity, you think about recklessness in the sense of like getting yourself into danger and
yeah,
stuff. But I mean, we impulsively like spent money on new sofas when we didn't really need them, because I was like, I'm so sick of them. I need new sofas.
yeah,
And I was like, right, let's get new sofas.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we got ourselves a bigger bed when we didn't really need that, with a new mattress when we didn't really need that. You can imagine the amount of money that we spent, and I haven't gotten any presents yet. I mean, apart from like having not up any like Christmas decoration yet, which I'm, by the way, eager to buy new ones. I don't know why, but there's this, do you know that sense of urgency where I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to go to the shops right now, just even talking about it. I want to go to the shops right now and pick out the prettiest Christmas decoration,
Yeah.
because I love like little like warm lights and whatever.
Me too.
And like little cute things. I wished I could have them on all year round. My
Same.
mum actually does that. She's got like lights all year round, and
I
I
love
probably
that.
should do, but the problem is we had that in the old house, and it just ended up being part of the furniture without being used, because I'd
Yeah,
just
that's the
forget putting it
problem.
on.
Yeah.
So anyway, just got kind of sidetracked there, but I still haven't basically, yeah, I haven't bought any presents yet, and I still have to decide what to buy my child as presents, what to buy, you know, her, well, her cousins or more my niece nephew. I have to decide
Yeah.
what to buy my family. I'm not seeing my family for Christmas because they live in Germany.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we've got, with my partner's side of the family, we've got kind of a relatively helpful thing where we've got this thing of, yeah, we'll just buy presents for the children, the
Yeah,
adults
we do
themselves.
that.
We don't get each other stuff because otherwise it
Yeah.
gets so much.
It
Um
does.
or like we'd get each other like one little small thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's all this expectation as well of suddenly like you're kind of expected to keep up as if you're neurotypical. And I feel like that becomes even more prevalent during Christmas. These
Oh,
expectations
yes.
are even bigger because otherwise you're ungrateful, you're rude, and you know, you're disorganized, and all these
Yeah.
kind of labels creep up again. I
I
feel,
know.
especially
It's
during
hurtful.
Christmas. And yeah, I think as well with diet and ADHD, you said, you know, you like to get seconds. I love that too. I love to
Mhm.
I think I binge eat a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I go through like periods of time where I forget to eat, and then other periods of time I binge eat. I know it's not the best. And then I
I do
go
the
through periods of
same.
time where I'm relatively okay-ish, but I'm trying to start to listen better to my body. But it's really, really hard because with ADHD, again, you have difficulties with even getting signals from your body
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
you're hangry.
That's
And then
what,
I get
yeah, I get
hangry, and I'm like, why
ravenous.
am I, yeah, and why am I shaky? And then I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to eat right now.
How many times we've said to each other like, oh, we haven't even eaten, it's like 4 o'clock, and we're just like, that's just, it's not a conscious choice. I mean,
No.
half the time I've just forgot. Or I mean, I even thought to myself before, I felt my stomach rumble, and I thought, oh, what an inconvenience. And I was like, wow, I've never felt like that before about food, of that's an annoyance that I have to make
Yeah.
something. And I even feel like it with Christmas snacks this year. I've gone the other opposite, where I'm just like, oh, I'm bored of snacks, I'm bored of food, I'm bored of all this. And I think that's another factor what's creating like this lack of joy for Christmas is, I think everything's so overdone, and capitalism, and you're constantly buying stuff, that by the
Mm-hmm.
time Christmas comes around, you're almost so fatigued by everything
Mm-hmm.
that you just kind of just want to just exist peacefully. And
Mm-hmm.
Christmas doesn't really allow for that in the typical way, because it is about socializing, it's about getting together, it's about cooking and eating, and it
Yeah.
can feel really daunting. And
I made a video last year about Christmas, and
mm,
basically I touched upon some pain points of, you know, I'd forgotten to buy a main ingredient, so
mm,
we really struggled to make the meal that we wanted to make. It was like a fondue. And then we also burnt food because I forgot to get it out the oven. Well, I didn't,
oh no.
it was just yeah, there was lots of different things where I was like, where I felt like my ADHD was becoming quite visible almost, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
yeah.
And I posted the videos about the kind of struggles that I was facing. And oh my goodness, the backlash I had. I had to
Really?
actually, yeah, I had like obviously a lot of really kind and sweet comments, but I also had some really nasty ones, just kind of saying about how I was therefore not a good mother, how I was therefore,
Oh,
not grateful, how I was a Grinch and whatever. And it's not about that. I'm not saying that I don't like Christmas. I'm not saying that I'm not
no.
grateful. And I'm not saying that I don't give my best. And I think we all do. We all
Yeah.
always give our absolute best, but you can't give 110% or 200% every single day.
No.
You literally can't.
Nobody
We'll
can.
try
Yeah.
and you'll
And
just
that's the
burn
problem.
out.
We
And
do
eventually,
try.
exactly. And eventually you can't mask those difficulties anymore. And
No.
it just becomes too much. And you feel so
It's
frazzled and burnt out and
that's
overstimulated and
it.
dysregulated. But you're not any less grateful and you're not putting, any less effort. It just becomes more difficult, you know,
Yeah.
even
And I
more.
think exactly. And I think the people that probably commented that were people that the content wasn't for, and they just
No.
don't get it. But I mean, I have got to the point where I actually was so prepared this year. I almost overcompensated, which actually is masking. If I look at it, it was
Hmm.
overcompensating because I didn't want to forget anything again. And I didn't want to be the one that was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I
Hmm.
literally last year forgot to get stuff for my nephews because it's like I just forgot they existed. Obviously, I know they exist, but because of everything going on, I just forgot. And this
Mm.
year I went to the total opposite. So I was prepared by October for my children. I'd got everything,
Wow.
but it hasn't, if anything, it's all it's created is decision fatigue. So now I've left with boxes of stuff everywhere that I haven't even opened, that I
Hmm.
have to wrap, that I have to deal with, and also kind of mentally prepare what's going to be what. And it's got to the point where I prepared so much that I've almost burnt myself out and left myself feeling completely frazzled and stressed at preparing everything that I thought was prepared.
Hmm.
And I just think that's, again, that's not from me personally being like, that's who I am now. That's from me being like, I need to do that because I don't want to fail and I don't
Yeah.
want to be the one that didn't do something right again.
Yeah.
My family are I'm usually the butt of the joke, and I know it
Hmm.
comes from
Hmm.
a place of love for the most part, but I'm usually the one that's made fun of for my traits, or
And it
well, that's just Emma in Emma's world, isn't it? And what do you expect? And
that's
it's got
exactly
to the
it. And
point where I'm like, how dare you? Like, that's so degrading to me, actually.
exactly. I think, even when things are coming from a place of love, they can still
Mm,
hurt.
they
I
do, and
mean,
I
I
feel
have
like it's not
similar
always
things.
from
Like
love.
when I was mentioning the binge eating, I've been having a lot of comments from family sometimes on either end of the spectrum, commenting on my portion sizes.
Oh
Um,
wow.
a lot, like being like, "Oh wow, you're eating for an entire family again, are you?" Or, well, if you're going to keep eating like that, you're going to end up like a fat, whatever.
Oh,
And I'm
I'd be
like,
like, so rude.
and
Hello.
or the other side is like, why are you not eating, or why aren't you eating enough? Is it not tasty? Is it not, I feel
Oh
like there's
gosh,
just so
yeah.
much pressure. But I love food.
Me
um
too.
I think we could make an
I just
entire
hate.
episode about
Yeah,
diet.
we really
um
we should actually, because there's, I mean, it's there's we have different sides of the spectrum with it. Of like, I mean, I've always struggled with my weight fluctuating, and with binge eating and body dysmorphia. That's another thing with Christmas is, what the hell do I wear, and what do I wear that looks good? And if you've got social gatherings and Christmas parties and you want to look nice, but you've got like image issues, or you have issues with eating around people, or like you say, if you've had comments like that from your family, that can actually dent your confidence with other people and question yourself. There's so many different layers of why Christmas can actually be really emotionally challenging. And with regards to diet, you know, all you're marketed at Christmas is unhealthy stuff pretty much as well. So it can
Mm.
also be really difficult if you're not in a good place, or if you're trying to balance your diet or getting in a healthy place. Christmas is a very difficult month for that, and it can really throw people off their like journeys with their health, their fitness,
Mhm.
and it can just be a lot. It can just be a lot. And I think it's really sad that you've had comments like that with meal portions and stuff, because I just think whose business is it what you put in your body when it comes
Yeah.
to your meal size? I just think,
I've had to
oh,
like start drawing some boundaries, and I'm extremely proud of myself that I'm starting to. I mean, it's
yeah,
only taken me 29 years
yeah,
to start somewhat loosely implementing boundaries. I'm saying loosely is
mm,
because some boundaries I'm better to upkeep and being like, no,
yeah,
this is it, no further. Other times I feel like in social situations it can be hard to kind of stick up for yourself if people are making jokes and actually you're
yeah,
not finding that joke funny. And
yes, yeah,
you almost don't want to, like, I think there comes this people pleaser, the RSD factor back in, like where you kind of, you don't want to be like the person ruining the mood.
exactly,
And
exactly,
taking things too seriously, you
yeah,
can't take a joke.
yeah, yeah,
But some things are not okay. And I did tell them that actually, they don't know my history with food, and I'd
mm,
rather they stopped commenting on my portion size.
yeah, yeah. And I think you've good for you,
And
because that's never something that someone should comment on, I don't think. And I know it comes from love sometimes, but you clearly are a healthy person that's looking after themselves and just enjoying a good meal. And
I love eating for taste, to be honest. I eat a lot
yes,
for taste. I'll overeat a lot of the times where like I'll feel too full, but
yeah,
because I've enjoyed the taste so much, um
you can't
like
stop sometimes.
exactly, like sometimes I feel like, I could have stopped eating way sooner because I was full
Yeah,
already, but I didn't want to. And I
yeah,
think Christmas especially, like, you have all these nice little foods to offer, and like, yeah, why
yeah.
why restrict yourself?
Why you shouldn't. And I mean,
No.
I used to have comments from my stepdad, and he's not a bad man at all. He's been very good to me growing up and like a dad, but he would comment on my eating and my foods. And there's a lot of, if I'm still, when I reach for seconds, they'll be like, you can't eat all that, you're going for more. And I just feel like saying, I'm a 32-year-old woman, shut your mouth. If I want to put that in my
Correct.
stomach, I'm gonna. And I am quite, the
Exactly.
problem with me is when I establish boundaries, because I'm getting into fight or flight at that point, I often establish those boundaries quite in an attack of like, I get defensive, and
Mm,
I'm like, almost overreact is what they see. But
mm,
what they don't understand is that that's years of repressed emotions that you bottle up because you don't want to upset the family members. And Christmas, conflict happens, and we have a relatively small family, so we're not too bad, and we do get
yeah.
on um now. But it still highlights a lot of issues for me, and I often come back feeling really sad sometimes, and feeling really
Mm,
like, I don't feel that close to a lot of my family members. And I often look at other people who are all just so close and
yeah.
spending like all of Christmas period together, and I sometimes feel a bit lonely, actually, is another thing I
That's
experience.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. I think it can be really highlighted, like when you feel lonely, when you feel
Yeah,
isolated. I think we touched upon that already, when we talked about parenting with ADHD, but actually, like, for example, I don't have like these big kind of friendship groups where people just organize something
yeah,
and you attend to it. Like, you have to kind of make an effort and individually organize stuff, and
yeah,
often things won't
same.
happen because dates don't align, or I'm just not organized enough to make sure that dates align because I don't plan far enough ahead, and everyone is already always booked out already at that time,
Yeah,
and it can feel a bit lonely, to be honest,
Yeah,
because you have all these people then who say like, oh, they've got their entire month booked out with
I
social events and stuff, and
know.
I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Do you know what though? I
um
wouldn't want that. I
no,
don't
I
think I
wouldn't.
would want that.
I wouldn't want that either, to be fair.
I think we'd have
I
mental breakdowns.
Absolutely. I've been
But
proud to
still,
like reach out and try and organize some things. And
yeah.
when it didn't happen with the group, that I individually reached out to some people and tried to make some things happen. Um, but yeah, I think any kind of feeling of loneliness or isolation, yeah, it's very highlighted at that time of the year. And
It is, isn't it?
we've and it can be very kind of triggering as well if you've got any kind of mental health difficulties that you're trying to deal with. If you're
Yeah.
trying to deal any healing, for example, especially when it came around, childhood traumas or
Mm,
things that happened with your family. They don't even have to be massively bad things, for trauma to be a thing. It's how
yeah.
you've experienced them that can lead to a feeling of trauma.
Yeah.
And sometimes facing those situations or facing those relatives again can be very difficult.
It's really
um
hard.
yeah.
I think that's we don't really think about it enough of how, it's all Christmas is it's fed, it's shoved down your throats essentially from September onwards. And, it's must be a really, really testing time for people, especially as well thinking about grief. And if,
Mm.
when you have ADHD, grief can be something that's very, very, very hard to process because you already got so many processes going on. So that can also make Christmas so difficult, because when we lost my granddad and had the first Christmas without
Mm.
him, that was hard, because you'd look at the missing spot at the
Mm.
table and you'd think, it changes
Oh, I'm
the.
getting goosebumps.
I know, and I nearly made myself cry. I don't know why I brought it up, but yeah, like that makes me really like it changes the course of how Christmas feels, because it's not the
Mm.
same as what it once was. But also, there's so many things where we spoke about the budgeting. I just thought I'd mention quickly before we finish this is there's so many people right now just trying to survive and just trying to get by each month. And I know there was someone that commented on my Facebook the other day, and it broke my heart, because she was just saying I can't give my boys the Christmas that they deserve. I can't
Mm.
even afford presents. I can't even afford a Christmas tree. And it genuinely broke my heart. So I actually messaged that person and I just sent her, like, not much at all, because I don't have that much, but just something that I had spare, just so she could get those boys some Christmas presents. And I know it's not about the
Yeah.
presents, but I know as a parent that feeling of not being able to do, what everyone else is doing,
Yeah.
and your child thinking, did Santa not bring me anything because I've not been good? I can't cope
That's
with that thought. And
no.
I'm sending so much love to anyone who might be in that position. I'm so sorry if you
Exactly.
are. It's
we
it's a really hard thing.
it is we are, as a society, in a cost of living crisis.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's a whole different thing with a naughty or nice list. I
Oh,
don't do
yeah.
it. I also don't I I also don't really say that any presents are from Santa. I think we pick the smallest presents that are usually like sweets, like chocolates
Yeah.
or whatever, and we say that's from Santa. The
That's a good
rest
way of
are
doing
from
it.
mummy, daddy, granddad, whatever, because I feel like it can be so hard otherwise for parents who don't have that much to give physically. Like, they'll have lots and lots of love to give, that
Yeah.
the children will still love it.
Yeah. Oh,
um
yeah.
but just in terms of physical presence, I wouldn't want anyone to think then, oh, like, Santa didn't love me enough to,
I
like, not,
know. Well,
and that can be so hard if yeah. So we're trying to, anyway, bring her up in a different way of thinking,
yeah.
so when she speaks about it, hopefully later on, children who don't get as many presents don't feel bad.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because I remember once there was someone, I don't know them personally, but someone, you know, when you have Facebook friends and they posted about Christmas and they took a picture of their living room and you wouldn't be able to walk in it for presents. It was full and it was a big living room
Wow.
and it was captioned like Santa's been. And I was just like, that's just so, I mean,
Wow.
do what you want in life. I'm not judging anyone. If you've got that money,
Yeah.
that's great. But at least say they're from you. Don't say that's from Santa, because the
Exactly.
child next door who got, you know, not half as much as that is going to think that's something they've done, and we feel like we have to put this pressure on ourselves and spend this money. But honestly, I remember as a child, I don't remember the presents. I remember some because they were cool, but most of it is the dinner, the family
Hmm.
together, and the fun that me and my brother would have. And I
Yeah, I
think
remember
I
that.
just, yeah, that's the memories you remember. And for me, I just want cozy and fun. And if you can offer that
Yeah,
to your children and your family, then you're winning.
you're winning. Yes.
Exactly.
I
You're doing
literally,
all you
I
need to
thought
do.
exactly the same. That's
Yeah.
all they
That's
need,
what Christmas is
nothing
about. And I
else.
think, yeah,
Absolutely. And
we've been a bit, we've had a bit of a moan in this episode, but in the grand
it
scheme of things, Christmas is a lovely time if you can enjoy
really
it,
is.
and you deserve to enjoy it. So let's all just take that bit of pressure off us and think, why are we doing that? We don't need to stress, because
And that's kind of
it's
exactly
just a nice time.
what I'd like for this episode to achieve. Not for anyone to like feel less Christmassy or less happy or festive or whatever you want to feel in that time of the year, but just so you can maybe give yourself that extra little bit of compassion,
Yes.
kindness, love, and peace, with
Yes.
some
Yeah.
maybe healthy boundaries for
Yes.
yourself because you
We should
care
make our own
about
little Christmas
yourself.
song. And healthy boundaries. Get embarrassed.
I'd
Um,
love that.
we should.
Uh,
But
it
literally,
was a
I
nice
think
tune.
yes. Chris, Christmas is hard. Christmas can be stressful, but that's because of the pressure that society and ourselves puts on us. But you know what? If you take anything from this episode, and me and Cherry that's take this from it, we deserve to have a nice Christmas. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter if the tree isn't up. It doesn't matter if the decorations aren't perfect. And it doesn't matter if the turkey gets burnt. At the end of the day, we're all healthy and happy. We have people that love us. And that's what Christmas is about. It genuinely, it's not about the presents
yeah,
under the tree. It's about who you have and who you love, and
yeah,
showing that on that day. And let's just all just take this month to just be kind to ourselves, because my
yeah.
goodness, we deserve it.
Kind to ourselves and grateful for the positive and healthy relationships that we do have.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and if you're feeling a little bit lonely, then just know you're definitely not alone. And I'm
No.
sending you virtual hugs.
Yes. And high
And you've
fives,
got
and
this.
you've got
Yes.
it. And I feel like we have so many lovely messages from people saying that it feels like they are talking with their friends, which is what we said when we first started this. We wanted
Mm,
that to be exactly what it felt like. And I hope that you can listen to this and think, it's not just me. I'm not a Scrooge. I'm not miserable. I'm just struggling. I'm a bit
no,
overwhelmed. And you know what?
exactly.
I've not met one person that isn't. We're all just doing it
Correct.
together. And you're not alone. Reach
Just
out to someone
nobody
if you're
really
really
wants to
struggling.
just nobody really wants to talk about the difficulties around it.
No.
And
No, because if
but
you do, then, oh, get in the mood for Christmas. I am in
exactly.
the mood for
I
Christmas,
am.
Susan. It's just
I'm
hard work.
exactly. It doesn't, I think that's something to remember. It doesn't make you any less grateful. It doesn't make you
Yeah.
any less festive or whatever. It just
Yeah.
means that you're aware of where your difficulties lie, where your mental health is at, where your
Yes.
physical health is at, and hopefully you can, accommodate for that.
Exactly. And I just hope, I hope that everyone has a lovely Christmas. I hope that we all just get to enjoy it, and just
Yes.
not be so stressed and overwhelmed, and have
Hmm.
good food. We almost need to, like, I don't know, just I think it's our own selves that put this pressure on, isn't it? And I
Yes.
think if we could just physically just lift it off and just be like, don't need that right
Get
now.
back to basics.
Just need joy and some sparkly lights maybe, and I'll be all right. You know,
Yes.
I think that's it, isn't it? Oh,
Mm.
guys, I hope that everyone does have a lovely Christmas. Obviously, it's when is Christmas? Next week? The week after?
I actually
Where are we
looked at
now?
the dates today, and it's the 12th. So we've got 12 days to Christmas.
On the 12th.
Sorry, I just gave away when we recorded. Don't know if that matters, but there we are.
It doesn't matter. they're gonna be like, I don't know, breaking the fourth wall on the podcast. You know what? It has been. We're a couple of days late, and I didn't even remember to say anything on Sunday that it wasn't being uploaded. I literally was just like, I forgot, and then today I was like, oh, I should probably say. So it will get back to normal. I think over Christmas we probably will have a bit of a break. We haven't really spoke about it, but
I have no idea. Well, I know we wanted to do. I know we wanted to do a New Year's resolution podcast.
Yes, that would be good. That would be good.
But yeah, basically, I just
we'll figure it out. We'll keep you updated.
My love and Christmassy spirits in a calm and non-pressuring way.
Yes, in the most calm way that we possibly can. But we will see you again next week. I feel it'll be a day.
We'll make it happen. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
we'll get it
be all
done.
right. We will. So we'll thank you again for listening, guys. Your support really is lovely, and we feel like we're just really proud of this little community, and that we've been consistent with it because we're on episode 14.
Yes,
I think.
and we haven't really, I mean, knock on wood, missed a week. I mean, granted, we're late this week, but
but we're still here.
Better late than never.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised it hasn't happened before. So actually, we're doing really well. So I think
I just got excited and stretched my foot out and
knocked your camera.
Oh,
a hair just went up my nose. A random hair flew into my nose. What was that? Anyway.
Okay,
right,
on
guys.
That note, we'll end the podcast. Lots of love. And if you're not following us yet, do.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Just follow. Just search for the ADHD Unfiltered podcast, and we'll come up. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.